Hello everyone, and welcome back. If you've played any of Trepang 2 yet, you probably know that Rage Mode is the highest and definitely very unreasonable difficulty. I've only played the first 2 story missions on Rage Mode so far, and while I've managed to beat them both, the second level I can say took me over 60 deaths to get through. It's not easy by any of the stretch of the imagination, though it is possible. That being said, 2 of the side missions in the game actually contain an exploit at this moment in time that make completing them on Rage Mode much easier. Considering that extreme difficulty actually lists that you should know how to use exploits in order to complete it, I don't know if this will actually get patched or not, but on the off chance that it will, I definitely think that you should take advantage of this while you can to clear these missions on a high difficulty before it does get changed. So without further ado, let's get into it. The 2 missions I'm referring to are the data center hacking missions, where you have to start a hack and defend it from waves of enemies and counter hackers. Now this exploit actually allows us to theoretically complete these missions without passing the first wave, meaning we only have to contend with a few enemies while the hacks are going. Now, the designed way that you're prevented from not fighting the enemies and just running the hacks is counter hackers that show up, and just by simply them standing near the hacking objectives, they stop the hacking progress and actually undo your progress. But these enemies and keeping them alive is actually how we're going to subvert the challenge. Whenever the first counter hacker spawns, it will be by itself. Later on, multiple will spawn at a time. However, this only happens after the first counter hacker is killed. You might see where I'm going with this if you've beaten the game already. By grabbing the counter hacker and taking them hostage, we can actually walk them away from the objective. This was an idea I had when I was first going into these missions. However, I was discouraged when I found out that whenever I grabbed the counter hacker when he came out of the door, it just spawned another one shortly after. And this is how the game works. If you take the counter hacker hostage, another one will spawn. However, the reason I'm calling this an exploit is because once he actually begins to counter-hack, in that he gets close enough to the server to stop your progress, you can take him hostage from there, and for some reason, this will not prompt another counter-hacker to spawn. Meaning that if you grab this first counter-hacker after he's already started dampening your hack, and carry him away into some far-off corner of the map, you can actually just hold him there and slowly, sneakily evade the other enemies while the hack is being completed. There's one more complication to this though. If too many enemies are killed, the remaining enemies will flee and cause the next wave to spawn. The magic number for this is 4. We need 4 normal enemies and 1 counter hacker in the map, meaning pretty much at all times, except if we for some reason kill our counter hacker, the number in the top right will be 5. If the number in the top right ever dips to 4 while you're holding the counter hacker, via you killing an enemy in front of you, the counter hacker will die in your hands and the remaining enemies will flee the map, starting the next wave. And while this isn't immediately game over, it is definitely a failure of this strategy. Full disclosure, I haven't been able to fully execute this strategy on Rage Mode yet. I've only been able to get 2 of the hacks done, and then whenever I would try to throw the hacker down to go to the next objective, he would die from the impact, and either I failed to get a regrab on the next one that spawned, or I just completely lost control and had to play the mission like normal. However, I cannot stress enough that completing the first 2 of 3 hacks before the second wave even starts is enough to get you through these missions very easily. That, and to my understanding, it is actually possible to re-grab the next counter hacker that spawns and carry him off into a corner. I tested a lot of this on easy, and as far as I can tell, the game mechanics aren't any difference between easy and Rage Mode. So whenever the new counter hacker showed up to hack the 3rd objective, I was able to grab him and carry him off and finish the mission the same way. A couple more important things to note. If you do get into a situation where you lose control or you're just confident that you can finish the mission, you should definitely spend your money on backup squads in the supply box. As far as I can tell, the friendly units that this summons follow all the same rules as the enemies do on the higher difficulties, meaning they are extremely accurate, harder to kill, and play relatively smart. So they can help you easily hold down the hack for the remaining time due to their extreme firepower, accuracy, and positioning. And one last thing. An important thing to understand when executing this strategy, whether you are planning to do it all the way through, or if you're planning to go loud, quote unquote, at some point, is knowing when autosaves occur. During this mission type, autosaves occur at 2 different times, whenever you start a new hack and whenever a wave ends. This means if you're not confident with your ability to re-grab a counter hacker after you start the next hack, you should definitely throw them away far from you and then go start the hack to proc the autosave, and then you'll have an infinite amount of attempts to go re-grab them. Or if you're not confident that you can throw the counter hacker down without him dying, you might want to hesitate on starting the next hack until you're sure that he survived. Just remember, when you're going through your re-grabs, you have to let the counter hacker interact with the new hacking location before you pick them up, or it's going to break the interaction. And real quick before we wrap up, I wanted to go over the gear that I'd recommend bringing. For your weapons, you're going to want to bring a shotgun and a grenade launcher with the homing upgrade. This is pretty par for all Rage Mode content, as the shotgun allows you to quickly peek and dispatch enemies, and if they don't die, they're almost always stunned, and the grenade launcher with homing is damn near essential to get focus back whenever you're out and pinned by enemies, allowing you to kill enemies without making direct line of sight with them. If you don't have the homing upgrade, it's found in the crash site side mission, just chilling on some crates. You really can't miss it. Just load in on easy, go scoop it up, and you'll be set for Rage Mode. Something I haven't really been able to use to great effect, but I'm pretty sure is very important to something like this, is bringing flashbangs. This will allow you to stun the counter hackers and the enemies around them to more effectively grab them and run them out of the area on the higher difficulties. Just be cautious, as you can't throw flashbangs while you're holding the enemy in front of you, as it will attach a grenade to them and throw them, which will void this entire strategy. So don't do that. I made that mistake a couple of times. Also, something that took me a little while to realize is there is a supply box that allows you to build your own loadout in the safe house. I don't know if I'm just bad at exploring these kind of spaces, but I played through the whole main game without noticing this, and actively wishing that I had something like this. I didn't look around the safe house too much, but after seeing the quartermaster and his wall of guns, I really just assumed that that was where I was supposed to get weapons from, and I just couldn't figure it out, so I just continued to play the game. Obviously, this wasn't too much of an issue, and I was able to get by with scavenged weapons playing on hard, but on Rage Mode, you really have to curate your build before you go into the mission. Once again, I'm pretty sure I'm just stupid for missing that, but definitely take care of that before you go into these missions. If you have any other strategies used for beating Rage Mode missions, I'd love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.